Title screen, Bound and Broken, Exposing the Culture of Violence Within the Colorado Division of Youth Corrections. Xavier Long, a former resident at DYC, is interviewed at his mother's home in Littleton, Colorado.
My name is Xavier Long. I am currently 20 years old. The first time I had an interaction with DYC, I was 11 years old. There's point in times where I have felt somewhat safe in DYC, but I think as an overall feeling, it's hard for anybody to feel safe.
Title screen, Xavier was initially sentenced for a misdemeanor offense for carrying a knife. After his probation was unsuccessfully terminated, he received a commitment sentence of up to 2 years at DYC. Xavier's mother hoped his commitment to DYC would provide him with the mental health treatment he desperately needed. Dawn Romero, Xavier's mother, is interviewed in her home.
Xavier had been hospitalized multiple times prior to being committed to DYC. During those hospitalizations, it had been recommended that he have residential treatment for the severe self-harm, suicide attempts, and suicidal ideation.
Title screen, more than half of the young people committed to DYC, like Xavier, have significant mental health needs.
I was told by the DHS worker and his probation officer that there wasn't really any more I could do as a parent, that I had tried, and that if I really wanted to keep him safe and not lose him, that I needed to let the professionals step in and commit him to DYC where they could actually help him.
Xavier.
I was actually recommended through the hospital because of my numerous hospitalizations that I received residential treatment. However, my insurance did not want to pay for that. So what my probation officer had recommended was that I get committed to DYC and that the state could fund that for me. How my mom felt about me going into DYC was, I feel like she was just really scared to lose her son. She was slowly watching me fall apart and didn't really know how to help me. So I think that was really a last resort for her. That was her what she felt would have been best for me and would have just kept me around.
Title screen, at DYC, Xavier didn't receive the treatment he and his mother expected. Instead, he was exposed to violence.
Definitely like to use profanity, kind of just any verbal degradation they could use. A lot of times, especially when kids were getting restrained or anything like that, it was definitely calling them a bitch, telling them that they aren't as big and bad as they think they are and that they don't run shit there. Everybody's on edge. We several restraints a day. Staff just kind of fed up with everything and ready to just definitely go hands-on over the smallest things.
Title screen, The Wrap, a full-body straitjacket used in all DYC facilities. Photo of a child at a DYC facility in The Wrap. Their legs, arms, and torso are bound in yellow straps. They wear a spit mask and helmet and are being lifted off the ground by several DYC staff.
I was placed in The Wrap on several different occasions. They'll start with the legs and work their way up. It has more straps so it can be tightened. They generally pull those as tight as they can get you.
Footage from a security camera at DYC of someone being put into a wrap and carried away by several staff members.
It constricts your rib cage a lot, so it makes breathing really hard. You can't really move your hands or anything like that. And kids can be in that for hours at a time. It's almost like a torture device. I mean, you can't move, you can barely breathe. You can't even turn your head to look around. I mean, staff can be behind you. I definitely think it makes things a lot worse in that it's completely and utterly traumatic.
Title screen. Colorado is one of only 2 states that uses the wrap in all of its juvenile facilities. The Arkansas Juvenile Ombudsman called the wrap, when used on youth, torture. The Arkansas Department of Human Services demanded that its juvenile detention center cease and desist using the wrap on the young people in its care. Photo from the Northwest Arkansas Gazette of someone being restrained in the wrap. They sit upright with their legs bound and stretched out in front of them, hands behind their back and wearing a helmet covered in duct tape and a crude marker-drawn face. The headline reads, "Youth Unit Told to Scrap Restraint, Taped Helmet."
Staff preach so much about understanding and acceptance and taking a nonviolent approach at things, and then when there's any sort of adversity, the first thing they resort to is a violent approach. The restraints are definitely completely different in areas where there are no cameras or that the cameras have blind spots. It's definitely a lot more excessive. There's an area at Lookout that's kind of on the side of the gym near the dining hall where there's kind of a small area of grass and concrete where the cameras can't see. And I mean, I've been restrained over there and I had staff throwing punches, digging their nails into my skin, pulling my hair, trying to move me. kicking me. When I was still on assessment at Mount View, staff actually had his knee on the back of my head and repeatedly slammed my face into the ground, resulting in busting my lip a couple different places. My nose was bleeding very profusely. I just had other staff knee striking me.
Title screen. Knee strikes are part of pain compliance techniques commonly used by DYC staff. Pain compliance is a technique whereby staff intentionally cause youth pain by placing forceful pressure on sensitive parts of the body. The Department of Justice has found pain compliance violates children's constitutional rights.
Where staff generally kind of knee strike kids is definitely in the upper thigh area. Staff have been known when they get really excessive with it and a kid is moving during restraint, it'll lead up to ribs and sometimes to the neck and head.
Dawn.
Having a child in DYC and knowing that they're using things like the wrap and the restraint methods that they use is literally horrifying. Xavier sustained multiple injuries during these restraints. There were times that the DYC staff did tell me that it was kind of a futile attempt on my part to attempt to keep advocating for him and to push in so harshly with them. And I remember one of the directors telling me, you know, he's really not your son anymore. He belongs to the Department of Youth Corrections.
Xavier.
I don't think that slamming kids on their face is gonna work for everybody or really anybody. I mean, I don't think that a violent approach to things is gonna be beneficial. I think there needs to be some sort of education on what the different mental health diagnoses that they deal with look like and what is beneficial to treat those and how that you can combat that in a positive manner rather than just combating it with violence.
Title screen. Child safety advocates are calling for a better approach. To learn more, go to www.aclu-co.org and www.disabilitylawco.org. Graphics and logos of the American Civil Liberties Union of Colorado, Disability Law Colorado with slogan Protecting the Rights of Coloradans of All Ages Since 1976, and Colorado Juvenile Defender Center with slogan We Believe in Youth. Produced by Rooted in Rights.